Hello my dear little champs, I welcome you all in today's science class. This is Rohan sir from Mahdi English Medium School, and as you all know students, since 2 days we are enjoying our lectures. You are really, I know that you are really enjoying your lectures because I am just revising the lectures with the extra knowledge, and that too with the animated pictures, so that you can get the brief and visual knowledge of the thing that you have already learned it. And I know that some of you have the habit of looking at the pictures and remembering the things, so that it is not your fault. Like at this age, what you look is what you remember the most. So that is why I have brought this concept into the your teaching videos, so that you can remember the videos, you can remember the things you have seen, you can remember the answers. Ultimately you can score the good marks. So even if you have seen that, you can make your own answers with your knowledge of whatever you remember. So my dear students, in today's class I have brought the content which is very much again interesting for you, as it was for the previous two lectures. Today we are going to get the extra knowledge of lesson number 3, which is housing and clothing, with animation as usual we are doing in the previous two lectures. So my dear students, housing and clothing, you already have been through this lesson. Already explanation is done, theory is done, revision is done. So let us move on with the animated photos and animation and the pictures with which you can get the more knowledge about the housing and clothing. I am just going to describe you the pictures, so that even if you have seen it, even if you have not seen it, you will enjoy this a lot for sure. So my dear students, first of all let me tell you that here in this video I have brought you interesting pictures for housing and clothing. So let us see what descriptive pictures we get in this video lecture. So as you can see, the natural environment where the specific humans or living beings have the habit of living there are called their habitats. And particularly there are two types. It could be the land or it could be aquatic, which is water habitat. You know that there are different creatures on the earth, let it be the human being or the birds or the animals. Every different animal and human being have their different habitat, different ways of living, different places of where they live. As you can see that the bird lives on the tree. They make their nests, which is the home to them. They give the eggs there, they lay their eggs there, their young ones get birth over there. So this is their habitat. This is the habitat of the bird where they live. And this you can see in the picture. What can you see? Obviously these are the fishes, correct? So this is the habitat for the fishes, where the fish lives. Fish, octopus, crocodiles, many aqua cultures, many aqua related, we can say, animals also live there. And this is the house where obviously the human being lives. So different creatures have their different habits of living at the different places. Even if you can see that this is the house evolution, the changes which took place since the ancient times. First human used to live in the caves or in the house like this. Then slowly they slowly developed their houses. Slowly they made the big houses, and then now they are building the houses with the modern technologies, with the modern equipments, correct? So this is how the evolution took place, from small to big to the modern technologies, etc., etc. These are the caves, correct? These are the different kinds of caves, if you can see. And this is how the ancient animals looked like. Correct, this was the elephant of ancient time. Not only in the human beings, not only in the houses, but also evolution took place in a long term with animals also. Some animals are now distinct, some are still alive. Now as you can see, this is a cave where human beings used to reside. Correct, the monkey like human beings, if you remember, if you might have seen anywhere, because human beings are from monkey only. Correct, this is the inner part of the cave, where this is the only shelter they had in the ancient times. They had no other support, no other shelter, no way to live. They used to hunt, they used to eat, they used to burn the fire, which you now call it bonfire, which is there now in the modern way. But this is how it is all invented from the ancient times. Correct, we enhance our skills which we have already got from our ancestors. Correct, so they are the originator, they are the only creator of the things we are using nowadays with the modern technologies. So not only that, but if you can see that these are the pictures of ancient the remains of the houses which they used to build. This is how they started building the house. They started building the borders. They never knew how to build the shelter or 2-storied, 3-storied, multi-storied buildings. Correct, but this is how they used to. This was we can say the initial step of building the shelters and the house by our ancestors. And here in the picture, if you can see, these are the huts. This still you can see in the slum areas. And just imagine, students, now you have your house, now you have a big house, a small house, never mind, but just imagine the people at that time, they were dwelling in these kind of huts. Can you just imagine? They had no fear of animals, because during those days there were no sanctuaries, there were no wildlife sanctuaries, there were no kind of you can say that national parks or anything to keep the wild animals. The wild animals and the humans lived at the equal stage, but the humans at that time were quite more practical, and you cannot still imagine to live in these kind of hut. Correct, you still go for the campaigns, still go for the outings, but you never can imagine to live in this kind of hut with no electricity, no water supply, nothing, just a piece of cloth and the woods, that's it. So this is how they used to survive. Their survival was not easy like us. So this is the outermost construction area in which everything is explained, how they used to build their house at first. You can see here the description is written, the windows were small and high to keep out the heat. Means, so if you cook anything, if you are cooking anything, the heat would automatically extract from the house. Correct, the walls and the floors were made of mud and brick. So now they have different kind of things available to build the house, but first it was purely made of the brick and the mud. But the ancient house, if you observe, they are still as strong as you build the modern house. You can say that more stronger than the modern house, because they did not had any kind of technology. Yet if you see the ancient palace, ancient castles and ancient anything, if you see, they have built till the date, they are as it is. They don't get the cracks on their wall as we get nowadays. So this is the difference. Though the technology has increased and is being increasing, but still the work of ancients, we cannot just ignore them, because they really worked hard, because without any kind of machines. You can see this, women cooked over open fires on the raised mud, brick and hearths. So the humans used to cook their food on the kind of natural stove made with the bricks and the, you can say, hay, you can say the whatever they got to burn, their woods, their hay, everything they used to generate the fire on which they used to cook the food. Now you have stove, induction, everything now you have. But at that time they were not having any, they were not even having the lighters with which they could light the fire. Using two sharp stones, they used to generate the fire and then cook the food. That was really not easy task. You never know where the fire will increase, when the fire will decrease. They all had to handle on their own. So this is how their lives were, full of hard work. Even for the women it was not easy. And this is one more example, this is one more picture I have brought for you. This is the example of how they used to live. If you can see, there is no shelter, there is no dome, nothing to cover the uppermost part of the house, because at that time they were not having that knowledge that how can you cover the house, and if you cover the house, if suppose, then how to maintain it. If suppose it will fall down due to rain, heavy rain or flood, anything could happen, correct? No particular borders were there, if you can see, all around. So this is just a model which I have brought for you all to understand that how the lives were during those days. So now in the following picture you can see the evolution of houses. Yes, using muds and clays and everything they used to make at first, and then with the bricks and cements, although they invented after the 90s, after the 18s I mean, but you can see how the shelter is. Yes, they were not of cement, they were not of plaster, nothing. They used wood, bricks, that's it. They did not had any particular technologies or any particular stuff to make the house. So if you can see that how the construction is, at first there is a garden, correct, and on the very opposite side there is an entrance. But now what do you have? You have gardens different in the separately in the area. You have your houses at your own privacy, correct? You have the shops at its own privacy. But if you can see in this picture, everything, every little thing is combined, correct? Entrance of the house, the garden, the shops, everything is combined during those days. But now you have your own privacy, you have your own house, you have your own bedrooms, you are living at quite a comfortable zone if you see the ancient people. This is what I have brought for you, the modern house, correct? This is how nowadays people like to live in these kind of house with all the facility of water, electricity, and small even the vehicles, they need the modern vehicles to travel as fast as possible, correct? So this is why you need the shelter, to cover yourselves, to be safe from the natural calamities. So what are the uses of house now we live in the modern? Now we just talk about the present situation. The house we live in protects us from the rain, correct? So when you need shelter to protect yourself from the rain, correct? So now the house you live in protects you from the rain, protects us from the heat and dust as well. Yes, because sometimes when you play outside, you don't realize that how much for a long time you have played outside. So because of the sunlight, you feel that you are not well. You start complaining about the headache, about the eyes pain, and etc., etc. So everything is disappeared just if you enter inside the house. So you say there is a saying in the Hindi that house is the last point of the earth for us. It is a corner. Actually, earth is round in a spherical shape. It does not have any corner. But as soon as you reach to your house, you feel you are that is the safest, most safe, or you can say that you are at your comfort level at your house, correct? So there are the uses, you should not say there are the uses, but this is the main thing why human beings need shelter. And students, there are different kinds of house, correct? They are different in shapes, they are different in size, correct? They are different even in the materials with how they are made. In the abroad countries, if you see, they build the house with using most of the materials with the wood. Why? Because there the natural calamities like cyclone and etc takes place at the high level, at the at every year. So the house, if you make there the expensive house, the more expensive the house is and the more damage you will have to bear. Whereas in India, we can say different kind of ancient constructions like palaces and castles. The India is known for that. So every different country, every different states have their own houses, the styles of the houses, and they differ even in the materials, in the shapes, and according to their own comfort zone. So now students, there are two kinds of house. One is not permanent, which is temporary, and one is permanent house, correct? Permanent house basically is made of bricks and cements and concrete. Iron rods even are used to make the pillars of that house, to make the house more strong. So permanent house are most probably, if you see, you cannot see permanent house in villages, correct? In the cities, in the towns, in the metro cities, you can see the permanent houses. And what do you mean by permanent? Permanent means you cannot shift the location of that house. You cannot just take away if you want to, and you can just assemble it again wherever you want. No, permanent house means it is permanent over there. Either you need to destroy it once it is constructed, or you can rebuild it, or you can refurbish it. So this is the permanent house, correct? So there are even different types of permanent houses. So here you can see I have brought a difference for you: single storied building, multi-storied building. No, you don't have to note down, don't worry, this is just an extra knowledge. So if you can see, my dear students, there is a difference written between the single storied and multi-storied building. In a single storied building, a single storied house has only one floor. So if your house is of one floor, it is single storied, whereas a multi-storied house has multiple floors, means it could be 2, 3, 4, or even the skyscraper, correct? But the skyscraper is different, though it is named as skyscraper, so it has its own speciality. The second part is a single storied house is built in a place without any land space limitation, whereas the multi-storied house is built in a place where limited land is available. So this is the main two differences of the single storied and multi-storied buildings. And the third, fourth point is a single storied house is built for only one family. So obviously, like we should not go on anyone's economy, but if you can say that single storied house is usually built for one family, whereas multi-storied house is built for many families. It is possible that even in the single storied house you get 5 to 6 rooms. Yeah, if someone is not interested, or someone is not you can say comfortable with the multi-storied, they can build single storied, because they have the fear of getting earthquake and etc. So they choose single storied house with different rooms, multiple rooms, or you can say various rooms. And in multi-storied house is built for many families. So in India especially, we have the joint families. You have your uncle's family, your paternal uncle's family, your paternal aunt's family. So there are different families living at a single place. So there multi-storied is very much useful. A single storied house is constructed generally by owners, whereas a multi-storied building is constructed by builders and sold to the buyers. So now you all know that the buildings are there around you, flat, which you call it in your language flats. So they are multi-storied, whereas the tenement, or you can say that a single storied house, sometimes you just buy that much piece of land and then you ask the constructors to construct it in your own way. So that is constructed by the owners, that is called constructed by the owners. Whereas in the buildings, the contractors are there, the builders are there, those who have bought the big piece of land, they then hire the contractors, and then after successfully completion of construction of the building, they sell it to the buyers. The different part, the different you can say the floors are divided and sold to the buyers. Fifth point is, a single storied house mostly do not have extra facilities within their premises. Most of the multi-storied buildings have facilities like park, swimming pool, etc. within their premises, whereas to enjoy these facilities like park, swimming pool, they have to go out to the other places. Yes, most probably, unless you have villa, unless you have mansion or any big house or farmhouse, you can say, you don't build swimming pool within your house, correct? But whereas in multi-storied building, the contractors make sure that you have the swimming pool, park, etc. during these days, so they can earn more and more, they can get the sufficient price for the house they sell. So these were the difference between the single-storied and multi-storied houses, buildings, we can say. Moving on, my dear students, we saw the variety of houses, we understood the types of houses, we saw the difference between the single-storied and multi-storied, which is the type of permanent houses. Moving on to what do you wear, means the clothing part of the chapter. So now students, you can see that two kids are playing and one pet dog is also there. The boy asks the buzz, "What are you doing?" And the honeybee replies, "Chinu, I am feeling hot. See the perspiration on their faces. So this is my fan. If you can see the wings, and the dog is really feeling very hot. Buzz, Raja, come here." So she is calling to that honeybee, if you can see. So honeybee came around her and said that, "Meenu, don't you feel hot?" So now here boy replies, "Buzz, everyone feels hot." So students, do you know why they are talking like this? Because they are feeling hot because it is a summer season, if you can see sun here. So now as you can see that not only those two kids and the buzz, which is honeybee, and the dog, but all the men in the town are feeling hot. Why? Because it is the summer season. All are talking and chatting about the summer season, and all are, if you can see, sweating. They are having the handkerchiefs with which they are just wiping their perspirations. So students, it is very much obvious that when it is very hot, it is which season? Obviously it is summer season, correct? So now if you can see that here the buzz again comes to Meenu. "Are you not feeling hot in that thick dress?" This is what the honeybee is asking to the girl, because the honeybee feels that the dress is really thick. So Meenu replies that it is not thick dress, Buzz. Actually the dress the Meenu is wearing is not thick at all. I am wearing a cotton dress. This is what Meenu says. She is wearing which dress, students? She is wearing cotton dress because it is a summer season. So obviously she is wearing a cotton dress because it is very much good for summer. So Meenu is not feeling hot at all in the summer, though it is very hot. So honeybee asks, "Cotton, what is that? Remember when the wind blew that day?" This is what honeybee is thinking now for her past days. So now honeybee remembers that yes, on that day they saw the feather like cotton plant. If you can see in the picture I have shown you, this is how the cotton is obtained from the plants, correct? If you have ever seen, if you have not seen, I will request you to go to the cotton plant area. So his brother says that her dress is made up of cotton. It keeps us cool in the summer also. So cotton dresses are made for the summer. Now you all know that. So now students, if you can see that it is raining, correct? So why it is raining? So because it is a rainy season and we wear raincoat when it is rain. Obviously when it rains we wear raincoat to protect ourselves from the water, from the cold, because if you get wet you will obviously feel cold. So I hope that you all are even wearing the raincoats in the rainy season. So you see the honeybee, she is also asking for the raincoat. So the girl is teasing that you don't have raincoat because you are an insect. So now if you can see that the girl is helping the insect also by covering the insect. Anyways, this is what I showed you because I wanted to show you how you can protect yourselves from the rain. And now students, if you can see that honeybee is saying that I am feeling cold. So now when do you feel cold, students? In summer season? No, we don't feel cold in summer season. Then when do we feel cold, the weather is cold? The ship says, of course you will feel a little cold. Why does she say so? Winter is coming, exactly. So in the winter season you feel cold. And why is this ship telling us about the cold? Let us see. So now Minu says, who are you? Because Minu is not knowing this ship. So ship says, I am a ship. And students, if you remember in the question answers we saw that we get the woolen clothes, correct? So now Minu and her brother are talking to the ship. And now if you can see in the picture I am showing it to you that this is the winter season. Okay, in India, in the western or the northern area, on the southern areas, we don't get the snowfall. But this is how actually the winter season is, full of snow, full of cold. You can't even feel your fingers if you don't wear the gloves, correct? So this is the photo of the winter season. So now you can see two men are feeling very cold. They are even trembling, and you can see that they are using fire, yes, to make themselves hot and to feel a bit warm. So now if you can see that this boy is touching the hair of ship. So this boy asks the ship, why don't you have much hair? So now ship will reply that my hair is called wool. Now students, the woolen clothes which you wear is which you obtain from this ship. So this is the source of wool. So we get wool from the ship, the white wool. If you can see, the hair of the ship is called wool, and this is the wool from which either your mother or your grandma stitches the woolen clothes and the sweaters for you, so that you will feel warm and you will not feel cold. And our sweater is also made up of wool, which is written here in the tagline of this photo, correct? This is how I have shown you the example of the sweater, correct? So you have the different colors of sweater, you have different colors of wool, so that you can make the sweaters. So you can see that now the ship explained to the children that it is my wool. The ship said it is my wool. So it is very clear now, students, that you get the wool from the ship. The sweater you are wearing, the hot sweater, because of which you feel warm, you don't suffer from the disease. So this is all given by the wool. So students, when do you feel very hot? This is the simple question. In summer. Obviously in summer you feel hot. And when do you feel very cold, my dear students? You see the snowfall, just now we discussed, in the winter season. And what do we wear in summer, students? Do we wear woolen clothes in summer? No, we don't wear woolen clothes. What do we wear? Cotton clothes, the clothes made of cotton. And what do you wear in the winter? Woolen sweaters. It is a sweater, correct? I showed you before also. I hope that you all are even wearing sweaters, raincoats according to the seasons. And what do you wear in the rains? A raincoat, correct? Which covers your legs, which covers your arms and your head. Even the caps are also available. So now student, we had a much of knowledge about the house, about the clothes, about the types of house, about the types of clothes in today's lecture. I hope that you have watched this lecture, you have heard everything, every detail, when to use which cloth, which kinds of houses are there. I hope that this extra knowledge was important for you, because as much as knowledge you have, your GK level will also increase. So you should have this science related knowledge, this science lectures related knowledge, so that you can have this extra knowledge in your mind. You can use it wherever you want, and knowledge is never waste. Remember that. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Goodbye. Take care of yourselves.